Hello there. Today's lesson is on section 6.2 in our Algebra 2 book on adding and subtracting polynomials. I think most of this will be a review from material you learned in Algebra 1. We'll start off with a review of how to calculate the degree of terms of a polynomial. And so, as it says in the reading here, the degree of a monomial is the sum of the exponents of the variables. And the degree of the polynomial is the degree of the monomial term with the greatest degree. And so we talked about that a little bit last time with the degree of the polynomials. And so, for example, let's jump down to part B here. Identify the degree of each monomial. This first term is x cubed, so that is a third degree. Now this term has a squared b c to the 12th. So what we do is we add all those degrees. So we have 2 is the degree of a, 1 is the degree of b, and 12 is the degree of c. And so altogether that would be a 15th degree term. So as it says up here in the highlighted area, the degree of the monomial is the sum of the exponents of the variables. So our exponents are 2, 1, and 12. So we add up 2 plus 1 plus 12 and get 15. The last one here is 76. That doesn't have any variables, so the variables are degree 0. So this would be a 0 degree monomial. Okay, and then let's go ahead and jump down to page 272. And so this lesson is on adding polynomials. And so when we add polynomials, all we do is we add the terms that have the same power. And so here let's start with the highest power first. So we have 5x to the 4th and 3x to the 4th. So when we add those together here, we get 8x to the 4th. And then we'll go to the next degree down. So we have a negative x cubed. There's no x cubed in the second expression, and so we're just going to have negative x cubed by itself, and that becomes negative x cubed in our final answer. And then next degree down would be second degree. So we have a 6x squared and we have a 4x squared. And so those get added together here, and those add up to 10x squared. Then we only have one first degree term, that's negative x, and so we get negative x in our answer there. And then constants, there's only one constant. That's the terms without variables, so just numbers are constants. So we only have one number, and that's 2. And so that gives us 2 in our final answer. So when we add together all those like terms, we end up with 8x to the 4th minus x cubed plus 10x squared minus x plus 2. And so, as I said, I think you did a little bit of this in Algebra 1. So let's go ahead and jump down to problem number 3. I'd like you to pause the video for a moment, try out number 3 in your book on page 272, and when you think you have your final answer, go ahead and press play and we'll see how you did. Okay, so we're going to start off with the highest degree terms first. So x to the 7th looks like the highest degree term. There is no x to the 7th in the second expression, and so we are going to start off with 9x to the 7th. And then let's see, our next highest term is x to the 4th, and again, that is the only x to the 4th term, so we're going to just have 17x to the 4th. And then next is going to be, the next highest term I see is an x cubed. Now we have an x cubed here and an x cubed here. So 11x cubed and negative 2x cubed gives us a sum of 9x cubed. And then we have a couple x squared terms. We have that x squared term and that x squared term. So 8x squared minus 8x squared, that would be 0. So the x squared terms turn into 0, so we don't need to even add that in. And then lastly, we have our constant terms. And so our constant terms are 4 and 12, and 4 and 12 add up to 16. And so our final answer then is negative 9x to the 7th plus 17x to the 4th plus 9x cubed plus 16. Now let's do the same thing with problem 4. Go ahead and try problem 4 on your own. So press pause, try number 4 on your own, and then press play when you're ready to see the answer. Okay, so the final answer for problem number 4 is 3x to the 11th plus x to the 6th plus 4x to the 4th minus 9x plus 17. And we can get that. I'll show that this time using the books method with the vertical addition. So we want to write 3x to the 11th from the first polynomial, and then x to the 6th, and then negative 8x. And then from the other polynomial, we have an x to the 4th term. There's nothing that matches up with that. We have another x term, which is minus x, and then we have plus 17. So the only like terms that we have are those two. So everything else is going to remain the same. This is going to come down to 3x to the 11th. This is just plus x to the 6th. Then we have plus x to the 4th. Sorry, that was supposed to be a 4x to the 4th. And then negative 8 and negative 1 is negative 9x. And then plus 17. Okay, so that completes our examples for section 6.1. This video also includes lesson 6.2. So now I'd like you to open your books to page 284. Okay, now in section 6.2, we're going to look at multiplication of polynomials. And so you did a little bit of this in Algebra 1 as well. There are several different ways that you can multiply polynomials. And so this first example here, the books technique, they use the distributive property. So they multiply 2 times the entire expression 1 plus x, and then they multiply 3 times the expression 1 plus x, and then expand those individually. So that's called using the distributive property. So you can see by these steps what the author is doing there. Another method that you might like is the FOIL method, and so I'll show that. So the FOIL method would look like this. FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, last. So first means multiply the first term times the first term. So that's 2 times 1 is 2. And then O means outer. So the two outside numbers are 2 and x. And so that is plus 2x. And then the I stands for inner. So the two inside numbers are 3x times 1. That's 3x. And then L stands for last. That's the last term times the last term is plus 3x squared. And then we can combine the two terms in the middle. Those are like terms. 2x plus 3x is 5x, and then plus 3x squared. And so notice that we get the same answer that the author got using the distributive property. And then a third method that I'm sure you experienced this in algebra as well, is the box method. And so in the box method, we put each term in its own space. So up on the top we have 2 plus 3x for the first term, for the first expression, and then 1 plus x for the second expression. And now we multiply to find the answer in each box. So the first box is going to get filled with 1 times 2, which is 2. Then 1 times 3x is 3x. Then x times 2 is 2x. And x times 3x is 3x squared. And so now what we do is combine these like terms and write our answer below. So that's going to be 2 from up here, plus 3x and 2x is 5x, and then plus 3x squared. So again, we get the same answer we did by the previous two methods. So you've really got those 3 different methods to choose from. Now when we get to a binomial times a trinomial like we have in example A, again you have all 3 methods that you can use. So the author uses the distributive property, And then you could also use something similar to the FOIL method. It would look like this. You would have x plus 2, 1 minus 4x plus 2x squared. And so when we do the analogy of the FOIL method, we can't really do first, inner, outer, last because there are more than 4 parts, but we can do the same process, which is multiply the first times the first, and that's x, and then negative 4x squared, and then plus 2x cubed. And so now I'm done with the x because I've multiplied the x times all 3 parts. And then I can do the 2 times all 3 parts as well. So doing that step by step, 2 times 1 is 2. So I'm going to put plus 2 out here. It doesn't match up with any of the other terms. And then minus 8x, so I'm going to put minus 8x here right underneath the other x so that we can add those vertically. And then that's going to be plus 4x squared. And so now when I add those vertically, I have 2 minus 7x. The x squareds cancel. They give us 0, so we don't need to write that down. And then plus 2x cubed. So notice that we have 2 minus 7x plus 2x cubed, which is equivalent to the answer the author got by doing the distributive property. And then again, you could also use the box method. I won't work the whole thing out here, but it would be x plus 2 times 2x squared minus 4x plus 1. And so you would fill in the boxes the same way and combine the like terms. Okay, so again, you have the 3 different methods that you can choose from. So I'd like you to go down to page 285 and try out example 3 and example 4. Now I'd like you to do 2 different methods. So maybe on one of them you can use the distributive property or the FOIL method, and on the other one you can use the box method. So go ahead and try use 2 different methods for these 2 problems. So let's press pause on the video, work out problems 3 and 4 on page 285, and then go ahead and press play when you're all done, and we'll see if your answers are correct. Okay, so the correct answers to these 2 problems are written here. For 3, it's 10x cubed plus x squared minus 13x plus 12. And for 4, it's negative 4x cubed plus 16x squared plus 51x minus 18. So I'll show 2 different methods for getting those. I'm going to rewrite this first one in decreasing orders and decreasing powers. So the first one I can write 2x plus 3 times 5x squared minus 7x plus 4. Now it's not essential that you write them in decreasing order like that, but I think you'll have more luck matching up like terms and so on if you put both of them in decreasing order. So that's what I've done here. And so when I multiply this way, I get 10x cubed minus 14x squared plus 8x. And then I'm done with the 2x because I've multiplied it by all 3 parts. Now I'm going to multiply 3 by all 3 parts. So that's going to be 15x squared. I'm going to write that underneath the other x squared term. 3 times negative 7x is negative 21x. And 3 times 4 is plus 12. And so now when I add vertically, I have the like terms already lined up. So this is going to be plus x squared plus 6. Let's see, that would actually be minus 13x, and then plus 12. And we see that that answer matches the answer that I have already provided. And then for number 4, I'm going to go ahead and do that one using the box method. So using the box method for number 4, I would put x minus 6 here, and I would put negative 4x squared minus 8x plus 3 across the top. And now when we multiply, we get negative 4x cubed minus 8x squared plus 3x and positive 24x squared, positive 48x, and negative 18. And so now when I combine the like terms, there's only one x cubed term, so that's going to be negative 4x cubed. Then we have two x squared terms, so negative 8x squared plus 24x squared is plus 16x squared. And then 48x and 3x adds up to 51x, and then minus 18. So that completes our lesson on section 6.1 and section 6.2.